Have you ever stopped to think that often the spoken words are not what truly reveal what people are feeling? Imagine being able to decipher their thoughts with just 3 simple steps. This can transform your communication and your relationships. Visualize a common conversation. Smiles, glances, but what if there is more behind that? Every gesture, every facial expression carries a deep meaning. What if you could read these signals like an open book? How would this change your personal and professional life? Now, pay attention. These 3 steps are not magical, but they are powerful. They will teach you to observe, interpret, and respond more effectively. What do you think you will discover about the people around you? What secrets can be revealed? Get ready to dive into a universe where communication goes far beyond words. Are you ready to understand what is really going on in people's minds? The key to deciphering these thoughts is closer than you think. Stay tuned and be surprised by what comes next. Foundations of mind reading. Mind reading, although not a magical skill, is a fascinating area of psychology and neuroscience. Researchers have explored how we interpret the thoughts and emotions of others, based on concepts such as empathy and theory of mind. Empathy allows us to feel what the other person feels, while theory of mind is the ability to understand that other people have thoughts and feelings different from our own. These foundations are essential for communication and interpersonal relationships. Empathy, for example, can be as simple as feeling the sadness of a friend who has lost a loved one. This type of emotional connection helps us relate better and respond appropriately to others' emotions. Meanwhile, theory of mind involves a more complex level of understanding, such as knowing that a person may be thinking something they do not express verbally. This ability develops in childhood and is crucial for social interaction. Additionally, neuroscience has begun to uncover which areas of the brain are activated when we try to understand what another person is thinking. Studies show that specific regions light up when we are presented with situations that require empathy. These findings help explain why some people seem to have a natural ability to read others, while others may struggle more. The interaction between these 2 concepts, empathy and theory of mind, is crucial. When someone expresses emotions, our empathy leads us to feel those emotions. At the same time, theory of mind allows us to analyze what might be behind that emotional expression. Together, these skills form the foundation for mind reading, enabling more effective communication and deeper relationships. Finally, understanding the fundamentals of mind reading is the first step toward improving our daily interactions. When we are aware of how we think and feel about others, we can become more sensitive communicators, adjusting our responses according to the emotions and thoughts we perceive in other people. Body language. Body language is one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication. Gestures, postures, and facial expressions can say much more than words. For example, a person crossing their arms may be feeling defensive or closed off, even if their words say otherwise. Therefore, paying attention to these signals can provide us with a clearer insight into what is really going on in someone's mind. Facial expressions in particular are very revealing. A smile may indicate happiness, while a furrowed brow might express concern or distrust. These subtle nuances often speak louder than what is verbally said. Research shows that, in many cases, people trust what they see more than what they hear. This highlights the importance of being attentive to others' body language. Moreover, posture also plays an important role. Someone leaning forward during a conversation may be showing interest, while a person leaning back may be disinterested or uncomfortable. These nonverbal cues help us interpret the hidden emotions and thoughts that are not explicitly expressed. Thus, body language becomes an essential tool for mind reading. Another interesting aspect is that body language can vary across different cultures. What may be considered a sign of confidence in one culture may be seen as disrespectful in another. Therefore, it is vital to keep cultural context in mind when interpreting these signals. This cultural sensitivity can enrich our ability to understand the emotions and thoughts of others. Finally, mastering the reading of body language not only enhances our communication skills, but also helps us build healthier relationships. When we understand what is truly being communicated beyond words, we can respond more empathetically and effectively, contributing to more meaningful interactions. Tone of voice and verbal language. Tone of voice is another crucial layer in reading the mind. The way something is said can completely change the meaning of what is being said. An enthusiastic yes can express acceptance, while the same yes said in a monotone voice can convey disinterest or hesitation. This subtlety in tone can provide valuable clues about the person's underlying emotions. Intonation also plays a fundamental role. When someone uses a higher pitch, it may suggest excitement or anxiety. On the other hand, a lower tone may indicate calmness or sadness. Thus, paying attention to intonation and word choice can help us capture nuances that go beyond literal meaning. This is especially relevant in conflict situations where the way something is said can significantly impact the outcome of the interaction. Furthermore, word choice can reveal hidden intentions. For example, someone who uses many I's in a conversation may be focusing on themselves, while someone who uses more we's may be trying to build a sense of togetherness. These choices can reflect the emotional state of the person and their intentions in the conversation. Therefore, being attentive to these details can enrich our understanding of interaction. It is important to remember that communication is not just about what is said, but also about how it is said. Often, words can be misleading if we do not consider the context and delivery. Therefore, when we read the minds of others, we must always take into account tone of voice and verbal language as a whole. Understanding the role of tone of voice and verbal language in communication can help us become more perceptive and empathetic. This skill is valuable in all areas of life, personal relationships to professional environments, where clear and effective communication is essential for success. Active listening. Active listening is an essential skill for any type of communication. It goes far beyond simply hearing the words someone says. It involves being completely present in the conversation, paying attention not only to what is spoken, but also to what is not said. When someone practices active listening, they can pick up on nuances and feelings that may be implicit in the words. This can be especially helpful in delicate situations where emotions are running high. An important technique of active listening is maintaining eye contact. This shows the speaker that you are genuinely interested in the conversation. In addition, asking open-ended questions can encourage the other person to express themselves more. For example, instead of asking, "Are you okay?" something more open like, "How do you feel about this?" can lead to a deeper dialogue. This technique helps build a greater connection and allows you to better understand the other person's perspective. Another fundamental part of active listening is validation. When you acknowledge the other person's feelings, it creates a safe space for them to open up. Phrases like, "I understand how this can be difficult for you," help show empathy and encourage the continuation of the conversation. Sometimes, people just need a listening ear to feel understood and supported. It's also important to avoid interrupting while the other person is speaking. Interrupting can give the impression that you do not value what is being said. Instead, wait for the person to finish before making your own comments. This not only shows respect, but also allows you to have a clearer view of the matter at hand. Finally, active listening requires practice. Sometimes, it can be tempting to get distracted by your phone or your own thoughts. But by dedicating time and attention to the conversation, you become a more effective communicator. Over time, this skill becomes second nature, improving your interpersonal relationships and the quality of interactions. Context and situation. The context and situation in which a conversation takes place have a significant impact on communication. Each social interaction is shaped by factors such as the environment, culture, and shared experiences. For example, a conversation in a professional setting may have a completely different tone than a conversation among friends at a bar. Understanding the context is crucial for correctly interpreting the thought feelings of others. Culture also plays an important role in communication. In some cultures, communication is more direct, while in others, it is more subtle. This means that what may be seen as a sign of respect in one culture can be interpreted as disinterest in another. Therefore, it is essential to be aware of the cultural and social norms surrounding the interaction, especially in an increasingly globalized world. Additionally, the specific situation can change the interpretation of emotions. For example, a person who appears to be nervous in a meeting may simply be concerned about the presentation they are about to give. It is vital to consider the context before jumping to conclusions about others' feelings. Often, what seems to be a sign of disinterest may actually be a reaction to external factors. Another important consideration is the shared history between the people involved in the conversation. A friend who is normally extroverted may appear quiet at a certain moment, but this could be related to a personal struggle they are facing. Therefore, knowing the history and context of the relationship can help better understand what is happening. Finally, accurately interpreting the thoughts and feelings of others requires careful analysis of the context. By taking all these factors into account, you become more effective in your interactions, avoiding misunderstandings and building healthier and more meaningful relationships. Intuition and perception. Intuition is a powerful tool that we often use, even without realizing it. It is based on our past experiences and the knowledge we have accumulated throughout our lives. When we interact with others, our mind makes quick associations, linking what we see and hear with similar situations we have experienced. This helps us form an idea of what the other person may be thinking or feeling. For example, if someone behaves nervously in a meeting, it may lead us to recall moments when we felt that way, and thus intuit that this person is anxious. Moreover, intuition is also shaped by our cultural and social context. Each culture has its own ways of expressing emotions and thoughts. What may be seen as a sign of disinterest in one culture may be interpreted differently in another. Therefore, our perception is not just a matter of reading signals, but also of understanding the cultural baggage we bring to interactions. Thus, expanding our knowledge of different cultures can enrich our intuitive capacity. Another interesting aspect of intuition is that it can be enhanced through practice. The more we expose ourselves to different social and emotional situations, the more refined our perception becomes. By observing and reflecting on people's reactions, we can begin to identify patterns that help us better read their emotions. This practice provides us with a kind of training for our intuition, making it more accurate over time. However, it is important to remember that intuition is not infallible. Sometimes, we may misinterpret a signal and reach a conclusion that does not align with reality. This possibility leads us to consider the importance of combining intuition with active listening and careful observation. When we combine these elements, we achieve a richer and deeper understanding of others' emotions and thoughts, avoiding misunderstanding. Finally, intuition serves as a guide, but it should not be the sole basis for our interactions. It is essential to be open to questioning our perceptions and seeking confirmations. Healthy communication involves a balance between what we feel intuitively and what others tell us directly. This combination helps us build more authentic relationships and better understand those around us. Ethics and boundaries. When we talk about reading minds, we cannot ignore the ethical implications that arise in this context. Interpreting the thoughts and emotions of others can be a useful skill, but it can also invade people's privacy. It is crucial to remember that everyone has the right to keep their feelings and intentions private. Respecting this space is essential for building trusting relationships. Furthermore, we must be cautious with the conclusions we draw from our mind reading. The interpretation of nonverbal signals or intuition can lead us to hasty judgment. When we allow ourselves to be guided by these interpretations without confirmation, we risk hurting others' feelings or creating misunderstanding. Therefore, it is important to establish clear boundaries regarding how far we can read others' emotions. Ethics also involves the responsibility to use this skill constructively. If we can perceive that someone is going through a tough time, for example, we can act in a way that offers support, but always respectfully. Asking directly, instead of assuming, is a good way to respect the other person's boundaries and ensure that we are interpreting their emotions correctly. Additionally, we should keep in mind that mind reading should not serve as a form of manipulation. Using our understanding of others' feelings to influence or control someone's behavior is unethical and harmful. Human relationships should be based on mutual respect and consent. Therefore, it is essential to reflect on our motivations when interpreting others' thoughts. Finally, ethics in mind reading is closely related to empathy. Putting ourselves in someone else's shoes and considering how our actions may affect them. Fundamental. This helps us act responsibly and establish healthy boundaries in interactions. Thus, we can enjoy the benefits of understanding others' emotions and thoughts without compromising the privacy and respect that everyone deserves. Now that you know the 3 steps to read people's thoughts, it's time to practice. Remember, observation is key. Pay attention to facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice. Every detail can reveal a lot about what someone is really thinking. Let's do a quick exercise. When you are in a conversation, try to apply what you've learned. What do the person's gestures say? How do the words connect with their energy? This can transform your interactions. And what if you encounter a challenging situation? Don't worry. Use empathy. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I were in their place? This simple reflection can open doors to deeper communication. Now, I want to hear from you. What techniques do you already use to better understand the people around you? Share in the comments. This exchange can further enrich our collective learning. Remember, the art of reading thoughts is not just about understanding others, but also about understanding yourself. So keep exploring, questioning, and growing. What else would you like to learn about the human mind? Your journey is just beginning.